Hey, welcome back. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible rules that protect your money. These are the 10 core principles that every single trustworthy bank has to live by to keep your financial world safe and sound.
I mean, think about it for a second. It's a huge question, right? You hand over your hard-earned money and you just trust that it's going to be okay. But what's that trust really based on? It can't just be blind faith.
Well, the answer actually comes from a really powerful rule book from regulators like the Central Bank of Bahrain. They're called the Principles of Business. And listen, these are not just some nice suggestions. They are the fundamental, non-negotiable obligations for how a bank has to operate.
Now, to make this all super clear, we've broken these 10 principles down into 3 big themes. First up, the customer commitment. This is all about the direct promises a bank makes to you, the customer.
So, this commitment covers 5 key areas: acting with integrity, properly managing any conflicts of interest, keeping your info confidential, and of course, protecting your assets and looking out for your best interests. Let's dig into each one. This one is the absolute bedrock of everything: integrity. Principle 1 demands that banks are honest and fair. No hidden agendas, no confusing fine print. It's about being straight with you. This is the foundation that all trust is built on.
And building right on top of integrity is this idea of conflicts of interest. This means a bank can't just push a product on you because they get a bigger commission. They have a duty to spot and manage any situation where their interests might not line up with yours.
Okay, this is a big one we all just expect, and Principle 4 makes it official. This is the confidentiality rule. It's what guarantees that all your financial details, what you earn, what you spend, what your goals are, all of that stays completely private.
This principle is about as simple as it gets. It's about safety. It says banks have to take reasonable care to protect your money. Honestly, this is their most fundamental job: keeping your assets secure, period.
You can think of this as the know your customer rule in action. Banks can't just sell you anything. They have to actually think about what's suitable for you and then explain it clearly. The advice they give has to be genuinely in your best interest.
Okay, so promises to the customer are one thing, but they're pretty useless if the bank itself is shaky. That brings us to our second theme, the operational backbone. This is all about making sure the bank is stable, competent, and well-run from the inside out. And this backbone really rests on 3 main pillars: having professional skill, having enough resources, and having strong internal controls.
Principle 3 kind of sets the baseline for just being professional. It means everyone who works at the bank, from the person at the front desk to the CEO, has to do their job competently. In other words, they need to know what they're doing.
Now, this one might sound a little obvious, but trust me, it is absolutely crucial. Principle 9 says that banks have to have adequate resources. That means enough money to cover their promises, enough skilled people on the team, and the right tech to run things safely.
Think of Principle 10 as the bank's internal immune system. It means the bank has to be managed well and have solid systems in place to spot and handle risks. This is what stops a small problem from spiraling into a massive failure that could hurt everybody.
All right, so we've covered the bank's promise to you and its own internal strength. The final piece of the puzzle is all about how the bank acts as a good citizen in the bigger financial world. We're calling this the system-wide pact.
And this pact really comes down to 2 key things: behaving properly in the market and having an open relationship with the regulators. Principle 5 is pretty much the play fair with everyone else rule. Banks are part of a huge interconnected system, and this rule makes sure they don't do things that could manipulate the market or damage its integrity for everyone. And finally, there's nowhere to hide. Principle 8 says that banks have to be totally open and cooperative with regulators like the CBB. This is what ensures accountability. When the watchdogs show up, the banks have to open the doors and show them everything.
So these principles all sound great on paper, but what happens when a bank breaks one? Because this isn't just a list of nice ideas. Oh no, there are very real consequences. Let's talk about accountability.
And what's really crucial to understand here is that accountability works on 2 levels. The bank itself, the institution, is responsible for all 10 principles, but key individuals, the people in charge, are also personally on the hook for most of them. You can't just blame the bank. And if a principle gets breached, there's a very clear path of what happens next. It starts with the breach, which can trigger the regulator to take action. From there, it can escalate to the bank's actual license being at risk, and it can mean that a person is no longer considered fit and proper to even work in the industry. So when you put it all together, the promise to the customer, the strong operational backbone, and the pact to play fair, you start to see the blueprint. These principles are really the DNA of good banking. They're designed to build a financial system that's built on trust and stability.
And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? This whole framework is clearly designed to build trust, but you have to wonder, in a world where finance is getting more complex by the day, are these principles enough to stop the next big crisis? That's definitely something worth thinking about.